Let's go to Tom Fitton. He's the president of Judicial Watch and the author of a Republic that is under assault. Tom, good to have you with us, sir.
Hey, Vince, good to be with you. Thank you.
Are you getting the same thing I'm getting from that answer? This guy is all of a sudden now declaring the outcome of a Justice Department investigation that we don't know about yet.
Yeah, it's his son, so, give him an out there. On the other hand, we know he's done something wrong. And to say he's done nothing wrong is a silly comment. It's not even one a father could justify. And, what I think is as bad, if not worse, is that he's elevated Hunter within his own administration. The left's argument is that his son has nothing to do with him, which is, as you highlighted, a falsehood, the media repeating it last night or on Friday. But I think it's worse to see Hunter walking up the stairs with Joe on Air Force One to go to a foreign country, essentially suggesting that he's my boy, he's untouchable. So this is the mafioso approach to the Justice Department from the Biden gang. I'm standing with him. In fact, not only am I standing with him, I'm embracing him in public, which suggests to me, and further to me, it further highlights why the Justice Department hasn't done anything, at least through the entire Biden administration, because they know they're joined at the hip, Hunter and Joe, both criminally and politically.
Right. So in other words, justice is not blind at all here. So all the lip service that the White House and Joe Biden have been paying to the independence of the Justice Department, he's so cavalier that he can go on national television, be asked about the Justice Department investigation into his son, and then declare outright that his son has done nothing wrong when that DOJ works for him. He is supposed to keep his big trap shut about this, and yet he didn't because he knows how this is all going.
Well, and it highlights the fact he's a witness. What information does he have that he can assure the American public he's done nothing wrong? Has he talked to him about it? Has he reviewed documents? Has he reviewed his tax returns? Has he reviewed his own tax returns? This is why the fact that there's no special counsel is so outrageous, because the rules are there that if there's an appearance of a conflict of interest, there's supposed to be a special counsel.
Yes.
We were told those rules were sacrosanct during the Trump administration, and they sicked a special counsel on Trump. Here, they've given it to a Trump appointee up in Delaware, the middle of nowhere, with all due respect to our friends up in Delaware, when it comes to Washington investigations. And so he doesn't have the resources a special counsel would have, nor the elevated public activity that a special counsel would have. So it's a way to bury the investigation.
What do you make of that talking point, though? I'm glad you brought that up. The left likes to say, Merrick Garland says it all the time when he's asked about the Hunter Biden investigation. He's always like, well, the Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney David Weiss in Delaware is investigating this, and he can do whatever he wants. What do you make of that talking point, that this guy's a Trump guy, therefore he's going to be really tough on Hunter?
No, Garland is running the investigation. Under the typical Justice Department processes, Garland's responsible. A special counsel regulation, the special counsel has a little bit more independence and basically just double checks with Garland every once in a while to give him an FYI, or at least in theory that's the way it's supposed to work. That's not what happens under this U.S. attorney process, if he's a U.S. attorney. Now, Garland can easily just say, you know what, I'm going to make him a special counsel, give him padded independence and insulation for political pressure. But he's refused to do that because it's rigged. The fact, Vince, how many shows have you done on an article or spate of news stories saying the Justice Department is coming close to whether to decide to indict Hunter?
100.
It's been at least 4 by my count.
Yeah, a ton.
And now here we are again. Well, they just met with him. And, I want to know if this investigation, how it could have proceeded without questioning Joe Biden. I'd like to know how it could have proceeded without questioning Joe Biden.
100%.
And how could it proceed without implicating him? And no one buys it. And that's why the Justice Department, the whole situation's frozen, because to move forward will highlight further the obvious corruption and cover-up for the Biden crime family.
Right.
And,
which
you know,
is
what's coming up this week? Go ahead.
Well, but no, I just wanted to make this point, which is, why we keep hearing in all of those many versions of, the charges are about to drop. Every time that's discussed, there's only two charges that are discussed: being late on his taxes, and the obvious one, the gun charge, that he lied on a background check form about his drug use. That one's open and shut. That's easy. And so, even when Joe Biden says he's done nothing wrong, that's an obvious one where he clearly has. But they never talk about foreign influence. They don't ever talk about foreign lobbying. They never talk about bribery. They never talk about trading access to the U.S. government in exchange for money from foreign nationals. That's never anywhere near the top of the conversation, and that goes right to your point, Tom.
Yeah, it's like a trawler of fishing boats going after Trump. When it comes to the Biden gang, we can only look at this narrow set of circumstances. And, we have this new information, and I guess much more of it that's further implicating, coming out this week from the House, where they reviewed Treasury reports and bank records.
Yes.
Showing all this money being laundered into various accounts associated with the Bidens. My understanding of it is that Burisma is like the honest part of what Biden was doing, given all the money that was flowing into the Biden family operations. This is, if we had a competent, if the rule of law were being followed in Washington, D.C., yes. Certainly, these latest revelations, when I suspect to be these upcoming revelations, would be enough to call into serious question the future of the Biden administration.
Tom Fitton, let me beg your patience for a moment. I'm going to play some audio. This is James Comer with Maria Bartiromo this weekend.
That fits a pattern, Maria, of what we've seen with these bank records. And on Wednesday, we're going to present to the American people all the information that we've received thus far pertaining to bank records. We're going to disclose many of the different LLCs, many of the different transactions that all these different Biden family members have gotten from our adversaries around the world. Now, we don't believe this was just a coincidence that all these Biden family members were receiving money from this web of LLCs into their personal bank accounts. We believe this was done in exchange for something that then Vice President Biden and now President Biden would have done. So this whistleblower is going to provide some very crucial information to our investigation, and we've given the FBI until May the 10th to produce this document.
I can't help but remember during the Trump era, all the left going hysterical that, Donald Trump is colluding with the Russians through secret web traffic in Deutsche Bank, and just all these harebrained yarn boards that they were putting up in their rooms trying to say this connection leads to this, right? And yet, this is very real, Tom Fitton. These are genuine suspicious activity reports, endless signs that, endless obvious things where the Bidens are working for foreign countries and foreign companies, and the only obvious thing they have to sell is access to Joe Biden.
Yeah, why did Burisma give Hunter Biden all this money? What was it they expected in exchange? Why did the Chinese energy company give the Biden team so much money? What was it they expected in exchange? Why were these monies being laundered secretly, it looks like, into Biden family coffers? Was it just charity? I doubt it was charity. And, if we had a Justice Department that wasn't compromised and corrupted, we would all have confidence something was being done. And as Comer suggests, they have even more evidence, whether it panned out or will pan out is another question, that Joe Biden specifically took cash either directly or indirectly in exchange for favors as vice president, and the FBI has been sitting on it for years. There's election rigging going on, and it's right in front of our faces.
Yeah, it sure is. James Comer seems to be under the impression, by the way, that DOJ could drop an indictment this week. I know he was simply answering a hypothetical here, but Maria Bartiromo did ask, if they decide to indict Hunter Biden for purchasing a gun illegally before your Wednesday press conference, what are you going to do? Comer responded, we're telling the DOJ, don't indict Hunter before Wednesday, before they have the opportunity to see this oversight evidence. What happens if the DOJ does drop a wrist slap of an indictment, say today or tomorrow? Does that upset the ability to go after Hunter at all?
Yeah, they're going to say, we've already looked at the evidence, and this is the sort of case that we can prove in court. And, it's serious, right? We're holding them accountable when in point in fact that they've protected others while pursuing this investigation, which, based on public information, assuming that we're right about it, if the charges do go forward, they're the least of what they can be doing in light of the evidence that's kind of shouting at us through the laptop, through Tony Bobolinsky, through these Treasury transaction reports, and through the president's own admissions, and the fact that he's lied publicly about his discussions with Hunter on his businesses, and now he keeps on stating there's nothing he's done wrong, suggests he has something he needs to share with the grand jury, or whatever Star Chamber proceeding the Justice Department is using to squelch any serious investigation.
I hope the right hangs on to this aggressively. I know you are, of course, Tom Fitton, but I mean elected members of Congress and others, because just years of having to put up with this crap of criminalizing every Trump tweet and every statement on a stage. Russia, if you're listening, became like a 40-week news cycle. Like, this is as authentic as it gets. And the left should be held, at the very least, to its own standards, but ideally to the standards of American governance.
Why don't they use the I word? I don't understand it. I understand politically it may be tough to do, but I don't know how you see all this evidence and not think he needs to be the subject of an impeachment inquiry, Joe Biden.
Right. Well, if I had to guess, what's probably happening is Kevin McCarthy and people around him think that impeachment only has the effect of making the president who's subjected to it more popular. That happened under Bill Clinton and Trump, too. When Trump was impeached, that first impeachment, he only became more popular throughout it. And so that may be the calculus here. It's a political one.
Yeah, I understand that, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Political consequences be danged if you believe in the republic.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Tom Fitton, I know you do. Thank you very much, President of Judicial Watch. Always good to talk to you, sir.